Having been here my entire life, I can tell you we've been through tragedies before, and we'll get through this one. I have no doubt that normal life will resume today.
A murderer is off the streets, and our families will sleep easier tonight.
A big break in the deadly stabbing attacks in Davis. One person is now in custody tonight, 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez. Keep in mind, this case has terrified the community for the last week. Good evening, I'm Chris Thomas.
I'm Laura Painter. Thank you for joining us. Police making the announcement just hours ago. We have team coverage tonight. Our Roxana Elias getting reaction from the UC Davis campus.
Devin Truby was at the suspect's home all afternoon as it was being searched by police. But we start with ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen tracking the latest developments in the case. Jeannie, a sigh of relief tonight.
Chris and Laura, Davis police say they have arrested 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez and have charged him with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Now tonight, the Davis mayor says that he believes that this community can finally be at peace following today's arrest.
We've made an arrest.
It's what the Davis community has been hoping for all week after 3 people were stabbed and 2 of them killed.
That would be 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez.
During a press conference today, Davis Police Chief Darren Pytel says Carlos Dominguez was a UC Davis student up until last week. Chief Pytel credits the community in helping officers track down Dominguez yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon, we had about 15 callers over near central West Davis, near Sycamore Park, and they reported seeing a person who matched the description.
Sycamore Park was the location where police say Dominguez stabbed and killed UC Davis student Kareem Najim on Saturday night. 2 days before that, police say Dominguez stabbed and killed David Bro at Central Park. Then this week, police say he stabbed a woman in her tent at 2nd and L Street. When police found him yesterday, he was just a few blocks from Sycamore Park. Chief Pytel says he was wearing nearly the same thing when he committed those crimes and had a large knife in his backpack. Police also say Dominguez lives at a home near Hawthorne and 8th, just a few blocks from Sycamore Park.
Just about an hour ago, placed him under arrest on 2 counts of homicide for David Bro and Kareem Najim, and for 1 count of attempt murder.
Police do say there is evidence the victims fought back because Dominguez had injuries on his hands and wrists. Following today's announcement, Davis Mayor Will Arnold assured the community that they can finally let their guard down.
The individual believed to be responsible for these horrific, brutal attacks is no longer free to terrorize our community.
Now, of course, this investigation is still ongoing. Police say they don't know a motive at this point, but they do say during their conversations with him, his demeanor was reserved, but that he did have a lot to say. Chris and Laura, back to you.
Jeannie, police say Dominguez doesn't appear to have a criminal record. Have they told you anything about his mental state?
You know, Laura, during the press conference today, I did ask police about if they thought he was maybe under the influence. They say that it didn't appear that he was under the influence of any drugs or alcohol and that they are still evaluating his mental health.
Right, Jeannie Nguyen live in Davis tonight. Thank you.
Well, the ABC 10 drone was over the suspect's home in Davis as police and the FBI searched the property. We are told that suspect lived with his roommates. And ABC 10's Devin Truby has been there all afternoon.
And she has the latest information now.
Davis community members have been on edge for a week now. Carter Carlson was laying flowers at the Sycamore Park Memorial when he saw someone walking matching the suspect description. He said the man in Adidas pants was pacing in Sycamore Park.
Ended up following him for a couple blocks. I was in my car while he was walking. I ended up making a phone call to the tip line for the police while I was driving down Villanova.
Carter Carlson is one of the 15 tips that immediately came in after suspect information was released, helping lead to the arrest.
It's very strange. I didn't think my tip was going to go that far. I knew that the police were obviously going to listen to it, but I didn't think that we were actually going to get him.
Neighbors and UC Davis students we spoke with that live across the street from Dominguez say they're shocked.
Able to study or sleep. I haven't slept in 3 days, be on our street, and I mean, with what's going on now,
I hope it's over for everyone.
the fact and the idea that he could have genuinely been in our neighborhood is so much more scary.
Lila Simpson and Allie Tolman have lived off 8th Street for a year.
It was someone in our community, so close to us, could have been on campus at the same time as us, is also something that's really tough to think about.
While the community is feeling safer with the arrest, many now say they're rethinking how they travel around the Davis area.
On the night of the second stabbing, I walked on my own at 9 p.m. to Rite Aid, and the fact that I could have passed him and he could have been my own fellow student is just so scary.
It all comes as we are learning more about that 21-year-old at the center of this investigation tonight.
We've learned he was a former student at UC Davis. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias joins us live now from campus.
And Roxanne, what are you hearing from students tonight?
Lauren, Chris, the word that I keep hearing over and over is scared. Now, earlier, just a little bit ago, we talked to a former classmate of Carlos Dominguez. He says he was surprised and scared when he learned that he had actually had class with this individual here on the UC Davis campus. Now, that student describes the 21-year-old suspect as any other student and says he hadn't noticed anything strange. Davis police say Dominguez was enrolled at UC Davis up until last week, and he lived in Davis for a couple of years. Police believe he was from the Oakland area before living here, but it's not yet clear. They say they found him with injuries on his hands and his wrists. They also found a large knife in his backpack. But they say he was compliant during the entire process when he was taken in and interviewed. They also don't believe he had any prior arrest. Now, earlier we spoke to UC Davis Chancellor Gary May about the suspect as well as his old classmate.
All we can share is the student was in his third year and was separated from the campus, from our system in April.
I would have never expected it to be a student, and it just scared me knowing that I was acquainted with this person, I've came across them, made me realize that someone could seem so normal, but things can change throughout their lives.
I think that's what's on everybody's mind right now. Now, students here and those that were friends to the victims that lost their lives too soon, they say they're happy to see the suspected killer off the streets, and now they're waiting for justice. Chris, Laura.
And Roxanne, these attacks started happening just 2 days after that suspect was forced to leave school for, quote, academic reasons. How did police describe the suspect's demeanor?
Chris, they say that during the interview process, he was reserved, but, quote, he spoke for a very long time. We were asking about a motive, but we are still waiting on an answer to that.
Meanwhile, we do know he is due in court on Monday. Our Roxanne Elias live in Davis for us tonight. Roxanne, thank you.
Remember, you can get the latest alerts on this story sent straight to your phone as soon as they happen, and also alerts for other stories so you and your family can stay safe. Download our free ABC 10 app and turn those notifications on.